Ever thought about launching into space? These days, you don't have to be an astronaut. Joining us on Style is Clara Moarskowitz, senior writer from Space.com, to tell us how to get launched into space. It's great to have you, Clara.
Thanks so much.
These days, it doesn't cost millions of dollars to go into space?
Just a couple $100,000, maybe.
All?
That's all.
It has dropped, hasn't it?
It is a significant drop. I think it's getting closer and closer for everyday people to be able to do this.
Okay, obviously, they're not doing it yet.
Not yet, but it could be this year. One of the leading companies, Virgin Galactic, who's planning to launch tourists to space on commercial spaceships, hopes to do their first tourist flights this year.
All right, where do you go if you want to get into this?
Well, those flights are going to launch from New Mexico at a brand new spaceport called Spaceport America, and it could be just all in a day's work to go to space and back.
So, what's the route? You explained it as suborbital. What does that mean?
That's right. So these are simpler than a space shuttle flight, for example. You would launch on this Spaceship 2 is the name of the vehicle, and it's actually carried up by this big mothership plane. Once in midair, it drops Spaceship 2, and Spaceship 2's rocket engines fire and zoom it up to space. And you'd be in space for about 5 minutes. You'd be weightless, floating around. You would see the Earth below, the blackness of space, and then you would come down.
This almost sounds like sci-fi to me.
I know, it's amazing.
I can't believe it's actually here and that we're able to do something like this.
And in fact, a number of people have already paid their way in full. There's a waiting list. You know, a lot of people are excited about this.
All right, there's another way. You said there are two ways of getting on board, and what's the other trip that you can take?
Well, there's a number of other companies that are trying to do orbital space travel, which is quite a bit more complicated, but they think that that's within reach for everyday space tourists as well. So SpaceX is the name of one of those companies, and they have launched their rocket ship on test flights this past couple years. And they hope to be launching paying tourists up to the International Space Station and to Earth orbit maybe for a week or two very soon.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, but we all know that going into space there are some risks to taking this type of trip.
There definitely are some risks, and I think everybody knows that. But some of the best minds are at work trying to make this safe and accessible to people, and I really think that it's going to be within reach pretty soon.
All right, the training that you have to undergo to go into space, what do you have to do?
Well, actually, I was lucky enough myself to go on one of the training programs for a suborbital space trip, and I rode on a centrifuge that simulated the extra gravity you would feel launching and landing, and it was a wild
What's
ride.
it like?
Oh, it's very intense. I felt up to 6 times the normal force of gravity, so you're pushed back into your seat. Your face is smushed out. It's very difficult to lift your arms. It's a little bit scary, but after a couple days, I actually got used to the feeling, and I think that any tourist could go through a little bit of training and be able to do a suborbital trip.
So are you ready to go up into space since you've gone through some of the training?
I'm a little nervous, but really excited. I hope it happens.
Oh, that is just amazing to me that we're able to do this. All right, so how easy is it to sign up?
Really easy if you have the money,
Exactly.
Yeah, they're taking names, and there's a lot of people excited and interested already signed up.
All right, and just something that people need to be concerned about, what should they be thinking about if they're ready to go into space?
They should be thinking about saving their money, getting on the waiting list, and making their plans, and just deciding when they want to go.
A lot of people really want to do this. I'm sure they're excited about it. Clara Moarskowitz, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.